In this episode, we will delve deeper into our previous topics, gain new perspectives, and explore key aspects of psychology in a more comprehensive way. As always, our goal is to encourage critical thinking, raise awareness, and provide scientifically grounded insights. Psychology plays a crucial role in self-awareness and personal growth. That's why each topic we discuss will not only offer knowledge, but also include practical suggestions that can positively impact your daily life. To make sure you don't miss any of our upcoming content, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Now, let's get started with part 10. Before we begin, I want to remind you not to miss any of our upcoming content. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you'll be instantly updated whenever a new episode is released. That way, you won't miss any of the valuable insights we share in each part. Now, let's dive into part 10. Instead of saying everything finds me, it is extremely important that we use a more restrained, more balanced language of communication by saying, not everything, but some things find me. Similarly, rather than saying, I'm not fair, it is important to say, there are times and areas in which I am not fair. The expression, I know, but I can't do it, is also highly problematic. Knowing and doing do not require the same level of effort or ease. It is easy to know or say something. The hard part is taking action and actually doing it. Even if both were equally possible, it is important from the very beginning not to allow a mindset that assumes we simply cannot do it. In short, we must avoid using clinical language, criminalizing even the most human conditions, generalizing, or making premature and exaggerated judgments. Overlooking mental and emotional fatigue. A pointless battle with psychology, or rather, with the concept of psychology, eventually leads to mental and emotional fatigue, and because heavy side effects from medications are often added to this process, it can become very difficult to discern how much of our current state of mind is the real issue and how much is an additional, later process. For this reason, when someone says, I have a problem, it is very important first to review our perceptions, then to engage in at least 1 hour of brisk walking every day for at least a month, and afterward to activate the mental and emotional relaxation opportunities one mentioned. This way, by separating the wheat from the chaff, the real problem can be isolated and, as a result, the true picture becomes clearer. Otherwise, almost every complaint may be misattributed to some non-existent problem or illness, inevitably leading to unnecessary medicated treatments in clinics or prolonged, seemingly endless therapies. When the body is tired, it is crucial to stimulate the mind by increasing mental activities. Likewise, when the mind is tired, it is essential to invigorate the body with brisk and regular movements, thus ensuring a balance between body and mind. Health is not just about blood pressure and sugar levels, it is entirely a matter of balance. On the specific causes of our problems, after sharing these important insights, let us continue discussing the specific causes of what we call problems. Yes, once again it comes down to coding, although every society's traditional modes of coding can differ. In our society, for example, emotions such as fear, discouragement, and sadness are commonly coded as problematic and blameworthy. I have also mentioned that insistence is a very prevalent tradition in our culture, which constantly creates blockages and leads to the accumulation of emotions. Our society is not rule-oriented, but emotion-oriented. For instance, when a spouse comes home, if the moment feels right, one might say, I love you, but if it does not, they might simply call the other by their name. This emotion orientation continually fuels our feelings. Every emotion is nourished by the consequence it produces. If the emotion of desire creates a result, that result in turn nourishes the emotion. Consequently, we end up with people who must work and act under intense, constant emotional pressure, meaning they have to struggle even more with their feelings. A renowned psychologist, speaking on his channel and offering advice to young people, says, my friend, if you get bored while studying, take a break immediately. In doing so, he teaches them to be emotion-oriented and makes their willpower vulnerable to emotions. Imagine a child who exclaims, I'm bored, and then stops, or I don't want to, and then stops. Repeating this over and over, the child learns to give in when faced with emotions and difficulties, eventually becoming emotionally fragile. It makes no difference whether a surgeon experiences boredom during an operation he has started. He cannot simply abandon the surgery. A teacher cannot say, I'm bored, and cut the lesson short to go home. A long-distance bus driver cannot exclaim, I'm bored, and drop off passengers at the first stop. I always say, problems have not really increased in recent years. how painful it is that people, whose main issues stem from having to seek help from problematic sources, suffer so much. We must be a society that is not driven by emotion, but by rules. We must base our actions and reactions not on our feelings, but on principles and values. In Europe, the act of helping those in need does not wear away easily over time because it is not founded on the changeable, erodible emotion of compassion, but on the fundamental principle, those in need must be helped. Principles are more resistant to change. The contrary examples we sometimes see in Europe are generally due to the well-established state system and the very effective functioning of the institutions and units responsible for this task. In our society, however, the situation is very different. For the behavior of helping, to use the old expression, to convert potential into action, to take place, the level of compassion and pity must reach or exceed a certain threshold. And in an age where almost everything desensitizes our emotions, achieving that threshold becomes more difficult every day. Emotions, after all, are more susceptible to erosion, desensitization, and change. It is virtually impossible for someone who sees the same beggar at the same intersection every day on their way to work to maintain the same level of pity over time. Therefore, we must cut off the water at its source and recode not only ourselves, but also our surroundings. If we do not code our environment will code us. Just as a fish cannot remain healthy in an aquarium with unhealthy water, we too must ensure a healthy environment. The way forward. For this reason, we will eliminate insistence from our lives. We will make an offer only once. Insistence means repetition, and every repetition eventually creates a suggestive effect. After all, suggestion itself means regular repetition. We will not say, "Don't be sad," or "Don't worry." Instead, we will say, "It is perfectly normal to feel sad or to worry." We will gradually diminish and normalize our emotions, first in our eyes and then in our hearts. We will not say, "Don't be afraid." Instead, we will say, "It's okay to be afraid. Everyone is afraid of something." Fear is a very human emotion and it protects us. We will learn to respect not only our surroundings, but also our own emotions. Respect leads to tolerance, and disrespect leads to intolerance. This, in turn, creates emotional dissatisfaction, which over time wears down the spirit. We will not say, "Stop crying, wipe your tears away." Instead, we will say, "It's perfectly normal to cry." We will remind our minds warmly that crying is completely natural. If there is crying, it means there is a need to cry. If we cry a little, it indicates that our need to cry is small. If we cry a lot, it means our need to cry is greater. Both a little crying and a lot of crying are normal. A small amount of crying is normal, while excessive crying does not necessarily equate to a crying crisis. We must abandon our habit of measuring everything, of defining everything with insidiously chosen, poisonous terms like attack, crisis, or night terror. Remember, crying is the expression of a soul that is not being nourished. Just as if you drink a lot of water, you will need to use the toilet frequently, and if you drink little water, you will go less often. If there's winter, it's normal for snow to fall. When it snows, it's also normal for it to be cold. In our difficult days, we won't expect the same mindset as before. We won't try to smile at a funeral. We will experience the concept of a funeral in a way that aligns with the nature of its reality. We will know that being normal doesn't mean always going along the same line, but rather responding according to the place and time, producing psychology. We won't say, "I have a problem, but why did I lose sleep? Why did I become like this? Why did this happen?" We won't send a message to our brain as if there's some abnormality. If there is a cause for something, we will accept its result as completely natural. Isn't it normal to shiver when it's cold? Isn't it normal to sweat when running? While experiencing psychology, we will constantly remind our brain of the cause. The brain is more likely to link situations it perceives as causeless to danger or illness. If I suddenly start yelling while sitting in a corner, you would be surprised, get angry, etc. You would attribute it to something like me being crazy. But when you find out someone secretly stabbed me in the back, the situation and your reaction suddenly changes. It's very important to connect things to a cause. Thank you for being part of Part 10. I hope this episode has given you valuable insights and helped you see things from a new perspective. Remember, psychology is a journey of self-discovery and growth, and every small step you take makes a difference. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new episodes. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share your insights in the comments. Thank you for your time and for joining me on this journey. See you in the next episode.